SMQBs, episode 176, the last Olympics extravaganza show for at least 2 years until we get to the Winter
I
Olympics.
can't believe
Milk,
we've done 3 weeks on the Olympics, by the way. This
it,
is unheard of.
It's
it's been a
awesome.
lot. Milk, who are you bringing to the bar?
I'm bringing my good buddy, University of Florida head coach Billy Napier to the bar. The AP poll is out as of this afternoon. Georgia, of course, first, Ohio State, Oregon, rounding out the top three. Big year for Big Billy. The question will be whether or not he makes it through the year. I have him fired by week 6, and I'm going to be on his ass all season long. He might lose to Miami in game 1 at home. That would be the nail in the coffin, in my opinion. So I really want to hear his game plan because
All right.
Are you going to tell him that you're predicting he's going to get fired in week 6?
I don't know. Maybe we'll see what his game plan is.
Did you say this is his third year?
This is year 3. The first 2 have been forgettable, as you know. So this is when you're supposed to turn the corner, right?
I think 3 years. I mean, you should have your recruiting classes should be there now. They should be, sophomores and juniors, right? So you ought to have your program in place. Yeah.
You know what's hard though? When you have the #1 hardest schedule in the country.
Yep, that'll do it.
So good luck, Billy. Good luck.
Wow. All right, Pope, who are you bringing to the bar?
I'm going to bring one Tom Cruise.
Oh, wow. Interesting. All right.
Wow.
I'm gonna ask him where that kind of ranked as far as the cool things he's done, considering how many cool things he's done. When he got an opportunity to get the flag and ride out of Stade de France in a motorcycle. And then obviously he had done some stunts previous because it was not in real time, but I thought that was actually kind of cool. So
all right.
It'd be interesting to see what he says.
All right.
Mission
I like that. That's a good one.
Impossible-esque.
That's a good one. I am bringing one Rich McKay to the bar. McKay, who is the CEO of the Falcons, but the reason I am bringing him to the bar is he is the chair of the NFL competition committee. And I've got some questions about this kickoff situation.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the hell is going on when they're kicking off the ball. I see red zones and green zones and yellow zones and lines all over the play. It just seems like players everywhere. It seems like complete pandemonium. And I just don't even know how you begin to explain this. I don't know. Maybe I'm dense, but can't we just kick the ball and tackle the guy with the ball? Is that too much to ask?
I don't get what they're doing because I was watching the Bucks game Saturday, and is this a safety thing? Because
yes.
they kicked it to the guy and he ran it and he got pounded. So what
For some reason, I think they think that by putting the blockers like 10 yards apart, that you won't have guys getting the full speed ahead, running start to just annihilate these guys.
Okay.
I mean,
good luck.
Football is a barbaric game. You cannot change the rules to make this less dangerous.
No, this guy got hit hard.
Yeah. I mean, when you have 250-pound men who can run 4.3 40-yard sprints, isn't it like mass times speed equals force or something? Isn't that the equation? I mean, it's a problem regardless of how you kick it off. So
I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, that's who I'm bringing to the bar because I got questions. Look, we got to jump back into it. It's the Olympics. I know this is our third week talking about it. Everybody's anxious for us to get into our wheelhouse of football, which is coming up. But God, the Olympics, I mean, they had a 76% increase in viewership from Tokyo.
Wow.
It just seemed like I'm sure part of it was the time zone was a little more accessible, I think, but all in all, it was pretty awesome. And 4 years ago, I guess 3 years ago, people were talking about the demise of the Olympic Games. Were they feasible? What would they look like moving forward?
Cities were
And
losing tons of money.
yeah, and
Nobody was
bam,
putting bids forward.
Paris to the rescue. So what do we got to talk about here, guys? Let's wrap it up on the Olympics.
I mean, what a great Olympics that Paris put on. I can't think of another venue, maybe in the world, that had so many like historic landmarks that were put into the rotation that you could see as part of the athletic events. I mean, everything was centered around the Eiffel Tower, and then you had, the Arc de Triomphe. You had other things. You had that really, really cool Olympic flame and a helium balloon. There's just, it's like we punched them, and they should have been punched for the making people swim in the Seine. But other than that, they almost pitched a flawless game for the Olympics. I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean that in the no air conditioners in the Olympic Village, those seem like it was a little iffy going in with those two things. But I mean, I watched a lot of it, maybe a little less last week than I had hoped to, but for the most part, it's what we had on every night at home.
Yeah.
That's
No,
just what was on
it became
TV.
a nightly NBC primetime coverage in Paris became a nightly show that we started watching, almost like a streaming series that we were binging. Like every night we watched the Olympics. And
Yeah,
I can't remember a time that, even knowing what the results were, it was
right,
still fascinating. And the
right.
way they built up the drama. I mean, I guess you got to give great credit to NBC and the entire network, the way that they did it.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. It was something to have on every night. I'm not a fan of looking down at my phone at 3 o'clock Eastern time and seeing that uh we've won the gold medal in gymnastics.
Right.
So I don't like the time change issue. I know that there's nothing we can do about that, but I thought it was an outstanding event. I mean, if I'm gonna focus on one thing, I got to turn this over to Nace right now. I
Uh-oh.
mean, I look, I know you were locked and loaded for the breaking event. Okay. I know you had three TVs going,
Multi-view.
multi-view. You had hyped it on this podcast for at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I need to know your feedback on breaking because I want to know what I saw with this Australian and
Well,
what happened there because that was one of some of the most amazing 3 minutes that I've seen in my life.
I'm pretty sure she didn't medal. I do
She didn't get a
understand.
point.
I do understand that she apparently has a
Zero point
PhD.
zero zero.
She has a PhD in breaking. Did I read that correctly? She has a
No, it's
PhD.
in
No.
it's human movement or something. It's something like weird.
Yeah, that was. It's unfortunate that is what everybody is. That's the meme from the
She
Olympics
had
at this
she
point,
had she
right?
has a PhD in cultural studies.
Oh,
cultural studies.
okay.
Yes.
I
Listen,
I've
I
got
think it's
I've got the quote of all quotes from her. It's awesome. I was never going to beat these girls on what they do best, the dynamic and the power moves. So I wanted to move differently, be artistic and creative, because how many chances do you get in a lifetime to do that on an international stage? I was always the underdog and wanted to make my mark in a different way.
she
She
did.
did.
Mission
She did.
accomplished. Congratulations.
She did it her way.
Slow golf clap for her. Look, I think it is particularly upsetting that we let a Canadian win the gold on the b-boy side of
Yeah.
breaking. How an American gets bronze only in
Awesome.
that, I would advise the men's breaking team, the b-boy team, to not go to Brooklyn or Harlem anytime soon because you shall not be well received. You did not defend the honor of the New York hip hop scene where breaking came out of. And shame, shame, shame on the B boys. and the B girls who didn't even get a single medal from the U.S. So very,
And
very disappointing.
And when are we going to be able to make that up? Because there is no breaking in Los Angeles 28.
It's not. They have what? Why?
It's
Well, that's a
not going to
damn
be a
shame.
sport. Yeah.
That is a
Wow.
damn shame.
That's too
I
bad.
mean, it doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, you would think LA would
So,
have breaking.
in all seriousness, though, I do want to move on to one thing that I think is a really fascinating Olympic story, and that's the high jump story. I'm sure you guys all heard about this, but at the end of the last round or whatever it is in the high jump, the American Shelby McEwen and a New Zealander Hamish Kerr were tied at 2.36 meters. And according to rules, they could have shared the gold, or they go back. And I guess the way it works is you go back to 2.36 meters, both people jump. If one makes it and one misses, it's over. And then you kind of go down until it's sudden death, basically. So you go down. So they could have split, and it's kind of unclear who made the call, but they decided to keep competing for it. So, and at the end of the day, McEwen missed out on 2.34 meters. Kerr made it, and so the New Zealander Kerr gets the gold. McEwen gets silver. He could have split the gold, shared the gold. In fact, this happened in Tokyo in the same event, where the two guys split it and shared it, and they were hugging. A lot of people remember that scene because they were hugging each other, and it was kind of like a feel good moment. What do you guys think about this? You got one hand on the gold. Do you split it, or do you keep going?
I don't understand why they have the option, because this happens in swimming a lot, right? Like it happened this year but they don't
A tie?
re-race. Yeah.
A tie
Like,
to
Yeah,
the 1/1000th?
you could have
there
a tie.
wasn't
I
swimming
think
this
there were
year.
a couple times.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know there was a
two
tie.
silvers or
yeah,
whatever given out. So
yeah.
I don't, why is it different here? I mean, look, I don't disrespect, I respect the move. Like it's ballsy. Guys like, hey, I want to be the sole gold winner. I don't want to share it. If you're not first, you're last. But I don't know. If I have my chance at a gold medal, I think I take it.
Pope?
I don't understand. It's my understanding that it was the American McEwen that said that he did not want to share. Is that not been confirmed?
I think it's a little. It's. I don't think anybody really knows except those two guys.
Okay.
They were both for it. They were definitely both for it.
They were
Yeah,
both for what? The jump off?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
think so. Although some have said, people say that perhaps the New Zealander was just covering for the American by saying they both wanted it and was kind of being gracious so that the guy wouldn't. I don't know. I'm not sure we'll ever really know what went on there. But man,
Well, I don't understand if in fact it was McEwen who decided that he wanted to jump off. I mean, he had just made his personal best, which was the height below where the both of them missed it, and they were clearly getting fatigued. I mean, the announcers are talking about, this is taking a lot out of him, and for him to think that he was going to be able to make his personal best again after failing 3 times at a higher level, and being able to have that energy to make that. I mean, I guess to me it's like I made my personal best. I can't get higher. I don't want to think I can make my personal best again because it took me forever just to make it one time. So let's share the gold. That would have been, that's what I would have done.
well, we've already had one Tom Cruise reference. I'm going to give you a second. Gutsiest move I've ever seen, Nav. Right, Milton. I mean, I like it.
Crash
I don't
and
know.
burn.
I like it. I mean, there is the side that gold medal, not bringing that gold home, let the Chinese out gold us by 1. It would have been a tie.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where's the patriotism?
Interesting.
So On the other hand, I don't know. I like it. I think there's nothing more American than saying fuck a tie. Who wants a damn tie? That's what they do in the Premier League. That's what they do in soccer. That is not how America takes care of business. So 5 points for Shelby McEwen on having the spine to go out there and compete for it. It would
Congrats
have been nice
on your silver.
it would have been nice if you could have delivered nobody.
This costs a lot of people some money too. From what I hear, the
Sure
gambling
did.
Oh, on the prop bets?
Are debating whether or not we had the most medals. Some are paying out, some are refusing to pay out.
Well, wait. I mean, clearly we had the most medals. Whether we had the most gold seems to me like
most gold.
The house gets to keep the juice.
Yeah.
Some are paying money.
Right? I mean, that's what happens in gambling.
I think it's great.
I hear.
Much admiration for him for saying we're not tying, we're going for it. It would have been un-American to take the tie.
He went for it. He got silver, but he went for it. He's not going to regret it. He's not going to regret the decision.
All right, let's talk a couple areas where we did get golds, and both games, men's and women's hoops, came down to some pretty good games. Pope, talk to us about the men's game a little bit.
I guess House and I couldn't make it tonight. Disagreed. I thought it was an okay game up until the fourth quarter. I mean, it was interesting. I never felt like the U.S. was really being pressed. I love watching Wemby. I have a new appreciation for him, and I can't wait to watch him grow in the NBA. But at one point, I even made a comment to Cheryl. I said, this feels to me like an all-star game because they're just jacking up threes.
By the way, that's about the biggest insult you can pay to basketball game.
Yeah,
the all-star game.
I mean,
no. But it was like individual talent was on display, but there wasn't much of a team game. And I was like, okay, we're gonna win. We'll win by 10 points. And then France kind of made that run, and then of course individual play. But if you got it, you got it. The chef went off in the last 2.5 minutes. France hit a three to make it 82-79. U.S. had the possession and shot clock was running down. They get the ball to Steph and he hits the three to put them up by 6. You thought like, ooh, that's not a dagger, but that's a big shot. France responds. Chef comes back down, hits another three. France doesn't respond. Come back down. Then he, ball fake, hits that three from top of the key. And then Wemby hits the three. I think that cut it to 6 maybe. And then, the nail, the dagger, or as the announcer said, the golden dagger was Curry's impossible shot that you've all seen the image where he shoots it over Wemby. The ball looks like it's going straight up in the air. It probably drew rain before it landed and, just perfect shot. And that's when, I thought it was cool watching the NBA guys there, like Carmelo and Draymond, those guys. Those guys were going nuts for their fellow NBA guys when he hit that shot, jumping up and down, did the going to sleep. That was great. Who wants to talk about the women's game?
Well, before we get to that, though, I have a serious question on this. And Milk, I want to get your views on it. Certainly, this wasn't the dream team. That's reserved for a very particular men's basketball team.
1992, Barcelona.
The one with the GOAT, correct.
But was this the best men's Olympic team?
Nope.
I think the answer is a resounding yes.
No way.
I don't know. How do you say?
They barely beat Serbia. If Steph hadn't had 36
Serbia had the best player in the world, arguably, playing for them. In 1992, there was probably 5 NBA players on teams not named USA. And now you've got, most of these teams had NBA guys on them. Arguably, Serbia's got the best player right now in the world. France has probably the hope for the next chosen one. playing for him. I don't know, man. I mean, this was a tougher gauntlet. There's no way this isn't a tougher gauntlet than what the Dream Team went through.
But if you take that team, the 92 team, and you
Yes.
put it up against this team and they play
Woo.
the game against each other, who would win?
Fire. That's fire.
Bank.
Oh, you think that's a spank? Are you crazy?
It's a spanking? Interesting.
Yes.
It's the 92 team spanks this team.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
right, obviously.
no way.
Obviously.
This is clearly this is like an ageist remark. You're living in nostalgia land. I mean, this team this team's unbelievable.
There's like 1% of the population is going to agree with you, Nace, on this.
No, I don't think so. I think you got to do a little research on this. I think this is a legit question.
All right. You got the GOAT. You got Larry Bird.
Talking about LeBron and
you got Bird. You got
Magic.
You got the Admiral. You got Patrick Ewing. You got Clyde the Glide. You got Karl Malone, Stockton. You got Barkley and Magic. Come on, man.
Come on, Nace.
Sick.
Those were a lot of guys who didn't win NBA titles you just named.
Okay. Well, are we going to play that game?
I mean, first of all, you got Embiid. Okay, you can put Embiid up against those centers. Again, I'm not talking about.
Really, you're going to put Embiid up against the Admiral?
Yes, for sure I would. Absolutely.
Okay. Ewing too.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think in their primes they play each other tough for sure.
All right, this is fun.
I mean,
go down the line.
Okay, you got LeBron James. You got probably the greatest shooter in the history of the NBA in Curry, right? I mean, I don't think you're not going to debate that, right? Who matches up? Well, yeah, okay, fine, but who matches up with Curry? I know he is not a specialist. Come on, Steph Curry is so much more than a specialist. Durant, I don't know. I mean, the team matches up really well.
You got Jordan, you got Bird, you got Magic. I mean, you got three of the top 5 all time.
3 of the top 5 all time. Arguably.
Yeah.
If you go back to footage of Kobe and they're like, who are your top 5 guys? They're all he's doing is picking guys on that 92 team.
Yeah, I know. That's right. But
take Bird.
But that's who he looked up to. Who he looked up to. I mean, it's a little different. I don't know.
I think it's not as clear cut as Milk and I make it seem, but
sure.
I think it's a great argument. The 92 Dream Team, as far as the firepower and the talent assembled, will never be matched, in my opinion.
I think this team had to go through a harder gauntlet because there's far more.
And I don't disagree with. I
agree with you on that. The game has changed. It's evolved. It's global now. The competition probably wasn't the same. What do you guys think about Kerr's coaching? Because he's a lot of controversial moves with Tatum. There's I don't know if it's real or not. LeBron being the bitch that he is, complaining about Kerr.
I think that was AI.
I don't think that was AI.
I mean, you're calling him the bitch that he was, and we're not sure that he actually said anything.
I have no doubt in my mind he said that. No doubt in my mind.
He may have said it, but whether that was a true
recording or not. It's exactly what
he
would have said. It's exactly what he would have said. And but Kerr won the gold medal. So what is y'all's thoughts on how he played Tatum or didn't play Tatum? And
Kerr knew what buttons to push. I mean, that was important.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he got the gold. Mission accomplished, right? I mean, it's hard to criticize any decisions he made when he delivered. And putting aside,
how does Tatum not fit in here? What was wrong with Tatum? Because as a neophyte NBA guy, isn't he like sort of been a 3 player?
Hasn't he been a little bit of a lightning rod in the sense that like people we're calling him the MVP at one point. Then he wasn't. Then he was. Then it was like he wasn't even the best player in the finals this year.
Right.
I mean,
Jaylen Brown.
who is Jason Tatum, right? Like, who is he as a player? Is he a dominant guy, or is he a really, really good piece to a team? I think that's the question. I don't know that on that team, he may have been right where he deserved to be on that team. So I don't know. Tatum.
Then that's some good coaching by Kerr then, because a lot of guys felt pressure to play him.
Yeah. Well, no. Kerr. Listen, Kerr's not going to feel any pressure, right? I mean, he's well. His legacy is cemented. He's going to do what he wants to do. So, well, listen, it was great. It was entertaining, and thankfully they won. But we have to go on. Put the dream team aside. If there's really a for real dream team, it is the women's USA basketball team that going into the gold medal game had won 60 Olympic games in a row. This was the 61st. 8 gold medals in a row. Is that right?
So hold on.
8. Yep.
What does that go back to? Which Olympics?
The first
30?
ones in Greece.
So that goes back to 92, right? They've won the gold since 92 every year.
I guess that's right. Yeah.
Yep. Since it became a sport.
And I'll tell you, I turned this game on, and it was 49-49, and it said 550, and I thought it meant in the first half. And I kind of thought, oh, well, they'll pull away. And then I realized that it was the fourth quarter.
At halftime, it was 25-25.
Yeah. And then it was a battle down the stretch. And Kevin Durant was in the stands watching. He probably had a fainting moment when the game ended because, by about 6 inches of the woman's foot on the line, that's a tie game going into overtime. But it was quite a game. The longer France stayed in it, the louder that arena got, the more you thought, I heard some stat that the average margin of victory in the gold medal game has been like 23 points or something.
Oh, yeah, we've just blown everybody out.
The longer France hung in that game, in that arena, you had to think that everything was favoring France. But the women pulled it out just by being tough. Man, you watch that game, you understand why women's basketball, though, has gotten super popular. I mean, the passing, the cutting, the dives to the hoop. It's pretty cool to watch. It's just
they actually
game.
Arguably play more of a team game in the Olympics than the men do.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and it was pretty special to watch.
But how could you not sit there and think, boy, would the U.S. like to have Caitlin Clark with the ball right now? As the last couple minutes were rolling down.
No, wait a minute. You guys just said on the men's side, hey, they won the gold. You can't question anything.
Oh, I agree with you. I don't think I agree with you, Milk. I don't think Caitlin Clark
wanted to go there
yesterday.
When it was getting close, he wanted to go there. He started to text.
No, I was going to hold it off for the next for the pod.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. How do you say they needed her?
They won the gold.
6 inches. Yeah, no, gold's a gold.
Gold is a gold.
Look, good for that team for going in there and winning the gold and putting all that, Caitlin Clark stuff behind them. I mean, that didn't bother that team. They just went in there and took care of business.
It might have
and pretty much wiped out everybody else until France.
Yeah.
But that's a dynasty. 61 straight Olympic wins.
Yep.
I mean, that's to stay that focused. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Well, I think basketball in LA is going to be one of the highlights of the Olympics because it's just going to be, a great environment for basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. It'll be wild.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll play at the Staples.
So, and I think also sticking with women's sports for a second, what was a juggernaut at one point and then coming into these games were looked at as maybe a down year was the women's soccer team. I don't think the expectations were that they were going to win gold this year, but a pretty wild game against who were they playing? Who was it? Was it
Brazil.
Japan? Oh, Brazil. That's right. It was
Marta, her
Brazil.
last game. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Pope, what do you think of what the women did?
The women did what they needed to do. They won every game. Literally, like in the medal round, it was 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. It was, I guess, the team played with a lot of I don't know, the 99 spirit is what they called it. The 99ers with Mia Hamm and the original world class soccer team that had been lacking in the last couple of Olympics. I think we've seen a passing of the torch, to use that phrase over and over again, with the Olympics, but this team with Trinity Rodman and Swanson and the goalkeeper, good Lord, amazing saves.
What a save that was! Yeah,
at the end of the half, which was probably a better save, and then to save the game on the header in extra time. They just they came together and they played as a team, and they just dominated when it was necessary. It's so hard to score goals in international soccer, and all they needed was one.
And along the lines of not playing Jason Tatum, pretty gutsy call by the women's coach to not put Alex Morgan on that team. You talk about the next generation. I think there was a lot of second guessing when Morgan, who's really been the face of women's soccer for a little while now, when she wasn't put on that team. But here we are, gold medal again. So I guess it was the right decision. It certainly wasn't the wrong one.
Right. Explain to me why does our men's team not have any of our stars on it? What is the reasoning?
Did our men's team, do we have any stars? I think that might be the problem. I'm not sure we have any stars.
But there was
Pulisic was not on the men's team.
Right. Why does
it was not the same
for...
team that lost recently in the Copa.
And why was
why
that?
Is that? Why is he not? Why did he not play on the Olympics team? I don't understand.
Yeah, that's a great question. I wish our resident
House would know.
Football expert was here. House would know. I think there's been a decision made by U.S. men's soccer team that they don't compete in the Olympics with the same international team that they compete for World Cup and Copa and other international competitions. I don't know why. I don't know if it's an age.
That's why we don't have any.
I don't know.
That's why we don't have any continuity.
I don't know if it's an age thing.
But I don't think
it shouldn't be, because certainly for women it's not.
Like Messi didn't play in the Olympics, right?
No.
None of these guys. It's
I don't
weird.
know. I did see. I did have the privilege of going to a friendly the other night, which this part of my problem with soccer is anytime something's called a friendly, I don't know. I'm not sure about it. But
we're friends. It's all good.
Yeah. Oh, it's just friends. And I did see it was Real Madrid versus Barcelona, and I did see Pulisic in the first 12 minutes. He had an assist and a goal, and then he took a ball off the face. He was racing in to get to, like the ball got by everyone. He was racing, and the goalkeeper for Barcelona, just got there first and let it rip right into his face, man. That ball, I think it bounced about 40 yards off of his nose and he went down. But up to that point, he had a goal and an assist in 11 minutes or 12 minutes or something like that. So maybe we would have been better if he was on the Olympic team.
All right.
Yeah.
I got the answer for you. Men's international or men's Olympic is under 23.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go. That's
under 23.
Under 23.
Not for the women, though, right?
Nope, clearly not.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Under
Who knew?
23.
All right. Anything else from this Olympics before we get a little preview?
Well, I would say we need to talk about what's going on with Jordan Chiles.
Oh yes, of course. I did have that in as a punchable face, but let's talk about it. I was going to
We
get
could,
there in the punchable face. We can go there right now, though.
I mean, we still don't know. It's still in limbo. Uh, a quick refresher.
explain what happened real quick.
A quick refresher. Floor exercise. Jordan Chiles is the last one going, and her routine had a certain level of difficulty, which did not get credited by the judges, evidently. So her score was put her in 5th place behind the Romanian who was 3rd. And so the Romanian thought that she won the gold and was celebrating. And then the American, Jordan Chiles, and her coach were huddling, and they realized, that they hadn't done the difficulty score. And then so there was an appeal, whatever you want to call it, quickly done. And then in real time, they decided to award the bronze to Jordan because they gave her the points for the extra points for difficulty. So everybody just assumed that they had made a mistake. And she got the bronze. She went up on the podium. If y'all remember, that's when Simone and Jordan were bowing to Andrade, the Brazilian. And so, great story. Come to pass.
Great story.
Yeah.
Semicolon.
Come to pass in the last couple of days. The Romanians appealed, or was it Chile? Shit, I can't remember.
No, it's the Romanians.
Okay, they appealed to the International Association of Gymnastics, or whatever you want to call it, and said that she did not get her appeal in on the difficulty by 4 seconds. That
you have 1 minute to enter a challenge by rule.
Yeah, by rule. But guess what? That rule was not well known because every other gymnast had 3 to 4 minutes after their routine. It was only the last one who goes that had 1 minute. Everybody else
bullshit.
Everybody else had a different time.
That's right. If you're the last competitor, you have 1 minute.
Right. But beyond that, the U.S. now filed an appeal of the appeal, saying that they have video evidence that showed that her coach got the appeal of the decision to not include the difficulty points within 47 seconds after she was finished with her routine, and then reiterated it within 55 seconds. So the U.S. is saying, and they said that we did not have access to this video until after the IOC stripped her. And that's what happened. The IOC stripped her of her bronze and said she had to return it. And I'm like, if I'm Jordan Chiles, I'm like, say what? New phone.
Has she actually returned it?
Yeah.
No, new phone. Who dis?
She's back.
They're never going to see that medal.
She was back at home in the U.S.
Medal? What medal?
Back in the U.S. when it came out that she had been put back. By the way, and just look, I don't really want to defend the Hungarian team here Romanian team. Because at the end of the day, they challenged based on 4-second delay. It's sort of like fuck off, but they did advocate for giving the bronze to 3rd, 4th, and 5th place. They're giving it to all the 3 competitors who were all tied up in this, who were all sort of caught up in this. And there is certainly precedence to do that. They could have awarded the bronze to all 3 of those competitors, but the International Olympic Committee elected not to.
Yeah, they decided to have a jump off.
Yeah. The thing with the video time-stamped evidence is really pretty fascinating. It's going to be really curious to see how this shakes out. But man, I mean,
egg on their face, all of them.
I mean, look, this is why this was going to be my punch, because from the get-go, the judges screwed this up. All right, the judges got this wrong by not putting the proper degree of difficulty into the system, or however they get to these random ass numbers that they score them with. And what happened? You really fucked with 2 young kids and their emotions, because had they done it right the first time, the Romanian would not have been on the podium at any point. Then the Romanian thinks she's got the bronze, and then because the judges screwed up, she has that moment of thinking she has the bronze only to have that pulled away from her. Now Chiles gets the bronze and they pull it away from her. So they put two kids through total hell because they just couldn't get their shit together. And that's not right. I mean, that's this mistake is on the judges. It's not on Chiles. It's not on the Romanian. It's not on Chiles' coach. This is on the judges. And to screw with these kids, and they are kids, they're competitors, but they're kids. It's really a travesty. And that's probably why they should have let them all split the bronze, because you shouldn't do this to these kids.
The bottom line, though, is if you're third or fourth, if you're the Romanians, I don't know who fourth was, like, you got beat.
Oh boy.
It was a technical error. Like, the points weren't added, right? Like, they forgot to award the points, going to lose.
Yeah.
Bison, you better get your boxing gloves on, because there's a breaking news.
They're affirming.
U.S. Gymnastics said Monday its efforts to restore the bronze medal in the floor exercise has been turned down. The federation said in a statement to social media that it was informed by the Court of Arbitration for Sport that rules, get ready, quote, do not allow for an arbitral award to be reconsidered even when conclusive new evidence is presented.
Oh,
what?
I mean, this is
how can you take this medal, though, if you're the Romanians?
I'll tell you what.
Wow.
Chiles.
That's a stain on the Olympics here.
That it really is. It really is. And you know what? You know what I'd say? Come and fucking get it.
Yeah.
Come and get it. Because in case you haven't realized, you've forgotten, we are the only superpower left in the world. So, come and fucking get it.
Hey,
football
launch the bomber.
That's right.
Get the bombers warmed
This is launch the bomber time.
Fucking warm up the bombers.
I think we're going DEFCON on this.
That medal's getting lost.
There is no way. That is so wrong.
This is, there is.
I mean, we're lawyers here, and this bullshit about even when conclusive new evidence is presented, we can't overturn the award.
What's the point of an appeal? What is the point?
Yeah, I mean, look, even in the law, you have a rule that says if there's new evidence available, you can be relieved from a judgment, right? I mean, that's I'll show off. I think it's Rule 59. But that is an option.
Hey, so, I think the SMQBs should, for free, represent Jordan Chiles and file whatever we need to file with international, whoever it is, and let's go kick some ass.
Us a call.
Bad news, man. That is bad news.
1-800 SMQBs. We're on it.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, let's move on. Pope, talk to us a little bit about your background there. We got to wait 4 years, but the Olympics are coming to the U.S.
Coming to the U.S. And you can't talk about that without talking about how cool that closing ceremony was with the transition. And one thing I noted I wanted to talk about was how and I think we're going to cover this breaking news. The Paralympics for the first time, because I think it's a really important sports for us to cover, but how the French Olympic team passed the French Olympic flag to the French Paralympic team as they were transitioning, into the next phase, which is going to come in a couple weeks. And then the way that they took the flag and, the Tom Cruise stunt to get it to Hollywood. And I just thought, the Red Hot Chili Peppers was just so spot on for that when they were bringing the flag down on to Long Beach, and then they had Snoop and just a whole celebration about how, the Olympics has now arrived in LA. So LA, here's the new sports. We're gonna have baseball and softball, which actually is bringing sports back. Lacrosse, cricket, and I also just read squash, which should be interesting. Yeah, right.
Interesting.
Like I said,
I'll bet you Lynn Dan could come out of retirement and do a little move over from badminton to squash.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, don't sleep on Lynn Dan moving over to squash.
And you know what? Don't sleep on pickleball. I'm not going to be surprised if it's an exploratory whatever sport
I can see that. I
come
can see that
LA.
for sure.
And
For sure.
if pickleball is, then you're definitely going to have pickleball table tennis or table pickleball, because isn't
So
that the natural progression of pickleball?
I got a question about lacrosse.
Okay.
What other country in the world plays lacrosse other than the
No,
US?
who cares?
Probably
Who
Canada.
cares? We're gonna
Canada.
dominate. Who
That's
cares?
right.
Yeah.
We're gonna dominate that. So that's a goal.
I think Mexico does
Sure.
too. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I guess at the end of the day, we couldn't lock up the breaking gold, so maybe
Right.
lacrosse isn't a sure thing
Right.
either.
Exactly.
Hey, world,
Now-
you got 4 years to
Now-
catch
That
up
wasn't
with
no
us.
no
I
no.
have-
That was Paris. That was France's choice. We're sitting around like, okay, what should we bring in? Let's bring in
Yeah.
lacrosse, baseball.
Yeah.
All right, softball.
Hey,
I
China,
did
how's your
leave out-
lacrosse team look?
F you, China.
I did
Yeah.
leave out one new sport.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that one.
Flag fucking football.
Oh.
Hey, will that be with NFL players? Yes or no?
Well, I don't know. I don't think the rules have been decided yet.
You know, Pope, you know what I think this is? Based on the new kickoff rule and what we talked about before, I think this is the NFL slow rolling us into becoming a flag football league. That's what they're going for. They're introducing it at the Olympics. And in 2029, the NFL is going to flag football. That's what I see happening here.
Pope, you seem
I mean,
discouraged. You seem
Look, we play
hesitant.
flag football in intramurals. I mean, it's of course, I guess, you know what, we had pickup. Now we got 3-on-3 as a sport. Why not have flag football? I mean, come
Don't
on.
you want to see Mahomes with Tyreek?
Yeah. So that's not going to happen. They'll be in training camp. You're going to get a bunch of XFL spares who are going to be out there playing flag football.
I heard
If it's not our
Jamarcus
main NFL guys, I'm not interested.
Jamarcus Russell is stretching out the
Jamarcus
shoulder right now
Russell.
as we speak.
Hey.
If this is
Not to bring up a sore subject, but maybe Kaepernick could finally get that gold.
Oh, God, that would be. Would that not be unbelievable for Kaepernick to be standing on the podium with a USA flag wrapped around him, collecting a gold medal?
He's totally right. Like,
yes,
this is during training camp and it's during college. Who is going to be playing?
Okay,
It's be a bunch of dudes from the YMCA.
Here are the rules. It's 5-on-5 on a 50-yard field with no offensive lineman. How's that going to work?
Well,
I don't know.
1 Mississippi, 2
that's how it is in
Mississippi,
regular
3
flag
Mississippi,
I don't know.
4 Mississippi.
I think it sounds great. I'm excited.
I can rush
it.
it. 5 Mississippi.
I'm very interested if it's actual real players. I'm not interested if it's just scrubs off the street.
All right, I'm going to put a bow on the Olympics for us.
All right.
I think this Olympics, in addition to being just a great kind of reinvention finally of modern Olympics that hopefully going forward. So actually, Milk, how old are your kids now?
10 and 6.
Did they watch any of the Olympics?
Oh yeah.
Like I remember when I was 6, probably 10 too. Olympics was a big deal. Like we sat around the TV, didn't matter where it was coming from, Montreal or, in the 80s. Yeah, 76. That was a little before your time.
76.
Yeah,
Jesus.
but so the Olympics was a big deal.
I thought that was in Athens. Wasn't that in Greece? Isn't that the original?
No. So do you think that
Rooster saw that one?
Yeah. 4 years from now, you think your kids, they'll be 10 and 14. Are they going to be looking forward to watching the Summer Olympics, obviously?
I think so. I think they'll be, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think
it was cool. They loved the swimming and stuff. I mean, they were into it.
Track and field, everything.
Yeah.
All right, so this was the first Olympics under the Olympic agenda reforms, which and this is what the head guy was reading yesterday in French. The Olympics this time were younger, more urban, more inclusive, more sustainable. And this was the first Olympic Games with full gender parity. And that was best expressed by the fact that the women's marathon, which men's marathon has always been the final event, always for, going back to whenever. But the women's marathon was the final event. And I think that was a great statement to indicate, where the Olympics is headed in the next 4, 8, whatever years.
So we gotta wait 4 years for LA, but we don't have to wait 4 years for Olympics. Who knows where the 2026 Winter Olympics are being hosted?
Is it Milan?
Milan
Milan.
and Cortina d'Ampezzo in Italy. 2 cities hosting the Winter Olympics, February 6, 2026 to February 22, 2026.
Mark your calendars.
Start the countdown.
Miller,
right,
you better get ready. We're going to kick your ass again.
And Nace, if I just happen to want to follow Gabby Thomas over the next couple of years, what would her Insta handle be?
I'll get back to you on a private text chain on that one.
I mean, if I just wanted to.
Yeah.
She what a fascinating story she was. Harvard grad, neurobiology. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 golds.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Track and field. It was great watching track and field.
Yeah.
Sure was. Okay. So Pope, you stole my punchable face. Does anybody else have a punch? Negative. How about a lasso? Who's got a lasso?
I
got one.
I gave you all my lasso. I actually have one Olympic lasso.
I have you go since it's the Olympics.
Right.
Mine's not the Olympics.
It kind of ties in also to what we just talked about, but Tara Davis Woodall, our women's long jumper who won the gold, married to Hunter Woodall, who's a Paralympian medalist. He had his both legs amputated when he was 11 months old. He had something called fibular hemimelia, which is when you're basically born without your fibula. He became like the real modern Blade Runner. And they met in 2017 at a track meet, got married in 2022. Did y'all see just how emotional that was after she won, when she went up to her and hugged him and just what a great story. And evidently, she's had a lot of adversity as well, trying to get to the point where she could win a gold medal. So that was really cool. And kind of on top of that, I just thought the celebrations, even not just American, but the celebrations after track and field, when they go up and they'd hug their family or their spouse and get the flag, whatever flag mainly American, of course, and ring the bell and run around with it on your shoulder. I think I'm going to start wearing a flag around, like maybe court and things like that. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love it.
Milk, what do you got?
Mine is from the Wyndham Championship yesterday.
Oh God!
I think it's
is that
the
a
last
punch?
event. No, this is a lasso. I don't know if you saw who won, Aaron Rye. And if you watched yesterday, there was a pretty touching story. He, I don't know if you've noticed, but he's the only golfer to use iron covers. And they told a story yesterday, which I thought was really cool. So he grew up in the UK. He's British golfer. He won the tournament, by the way. Grew up dirt poor, like nothing. But his dad, like, literally put all their money anytime they had any extra money into like golf for him. And when he was a kid, they finally, he got a little bit extra money and bought him like a nice pair of golf clubs, and they totally couldn't afford it. They couldn't afford anything. And he was so like concerned about keeping them from scratching and all this stuff, because he would never be able to get another pair of clubs like that. And they had literally spent all their money, that he put iron covers on them to prevent scratching or anything happening to him while he was playing with them. And so he has those now and on the tour, kind of in honor of his upbringing and not having any money back then. So he's the only golfer you will see on the PGA Tour with iron covers. And that's to commemorate his dad and his
That's
family.
a good story.
It was really cool to see that yesterday. So when you watch him play, you'll see and he won, which was so cool.
That's a really good story. I like that.
There is a punch that comes out of that too. I thought you were getting ready to say
Cooch.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
What
This
a
is
prima donna. Tell the story,
this,
Milk.
well, you may know more than me, but I guess it came down yesterday. He was not in contention to win, but I
No,
think he was
he'd already choked.
he was in 12th or whatever, but he was in the final group, right?
He was
It
in the
was,
final group because he's
yeah.
leading going into the final round.
Yeah, and it gets dark or whatever, and everyone else opts to keep going, right?
Including the golfer in his what, twosome?
Yeah.
Were they playing twos or threes final round?
I don't know, it might have been threes. I think it was threes.
But okay, so both
So
golfers
what happened? Get to it. What happened?
both golfers with Kuchar elect to finish out. And Kuchar like hits the ball into the rough, and he's like, I can't see. And he marks the ball, and he is the only golfer in the entire field that does not finish. And he comes back this morning and finishes the entire. So all these volunteers, the PGA guys, they all had to come back because of his little prima donna ass. Didn't want to finish in the dark.
I will say I was mad at him, and I'm slapping, I'm not punching.
Okay.
But he did have to, I think he got to like 107th by finishing 12th or whatever. If you're not in the top 125, you don't make the FedEx playoffs.
No, you don't make it if you're not top 75.
And he was 230 out on that second shot. Oh, he didn't make it?
No, it's top 75. They cut it down.
So did he have any chance?
No. He had to have it to keep his scorecard.
He had to win to make the FedEx.
No, but top 125 keep their card. He had to keep his card for next year. So,
well,
I don't know.
That's a different story.
It's still a bitch move, but
that's a lot of pressure, though. That's a lot of pressure to keep your card.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe he wanted to come back, but
yeah. All right. Who's got a buzzer beater? Anybody? All right. I'll just mention quickly. Suck. Yeah, they do. That's true. We'll stipulate to that. Hey, look, there's still a lot of baseball left, but man, the wild card is bananas in both leagues. I think there's like 6 teams that are legit, in the hunt in the AL to get in for the wild card. And I think in the NL, there's like 9 teams you can count that have a chance. It's bananas. I mean, yeah, you've got like Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, the Cubs, the Giants, the Cardinals, the Mets. Those are 6 teams that are competing, that are within 5 games of the wild card. Then you throw in the Braves, the Padres, and the Diamondbacks, who right now are the leaders there. So you've got 9 teams in the NL that have a chance. Now, granted, the Diamondbacks and Padres are 4 up. So they but man, that's going to be pretty wild in both divisions to see who gets in. So keep an eye on baseball. Baseball's as we warm up for a little football. It's coming. You guys got anything else?
I'm 1 loss away from throwing in the towel on the season. So you can eliminate the Rays from contention.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, happy to do that. So,
sure
all right, guys.
I'm looking forward to basketball season now.
Thank God House and Rooster aren't on this pod, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, guys. Have a good week. Wait for 2 years for the Olympics, for the next round of the Olympics.
Later.